What's up, everybody? It's Dr. Laura Pence here with Understanding Your Greatest Self. First, just thanks for showing up. I have such gratitude for you when you're here, so I'm super pumped that you're here. And I'm going to dive right in, all right? Because we're beginning to talk about this larger topic of what happens when you get stuck, right? And then further on, like in a few weeks and in a few episodes, we're going to talk about how to get unstuck. But let's talk for a minute about what that means, okay? So it's a phrase that I often use in my work with clients, is when they are basically engaging in something that they don't want to be, right? So you could be stuck in a certain behavior pattern. You could be stuck in a certain thinking pattern. You could be stuck in a certain relationship. You could be stuck in a career, right? You could be stuck in a role that you don't want to be in a family system. So one of the reasons why it's important to kind of talk about this topic is because normally we find ourselves stuck in certain positions or relationships or emotions, and we don't necessarily think about it that way, right? We just might sort of chalk it up to like, this is just how it is. You know, like if you feel sad, you might be like, well, I'm just a sad person. If you feel angry, you might be, well, I'm just an angry person. Like you attribute it more to who you are rather than like just a state or like a temporary experience, okay? And that's why I think it's important to address this, because so often in my office, my clients will feel stuck, but feel completely powerless and helpless to get out of it. As if they've been like assigned, you know, a label and a diagnosis, and this is just what is going to happen forever. It's like a terminal diagnosis, that it's never going away. Now, of course, if somebody might be, for example, actually diagnosed with depression, yes, they might struggle with depression their whole life. But their current emotional state and their current thinking patterns, you can still work on, right? And we can still work to move out of that position of being stuck, right? Oftentimes, too, in my work with clients, I'll have people say, like, well, I don't really want to be in this relationship, but I don't really have many other options. It's like, hello, you have tons of options. There's lots of fish in the sea. But really, like, you don't have to be stuck in this relationship. Or I'll have people say a lot, I hate my job, but what else am I going to do? Well, what you're going to do is you're going to figure out what else you want to do, and then you're going to go do it, okay? So it's important for us to reflect on where we feel stuck. But most importantly, we need to reflect on why we keep ourselves there, okay? Now, oftentimes we keep ourselves there because we are afraid. Fear is a mother effer, I will tell you that. And it keeps people stuck because they're afraid of abandonment. They're afraid of rejection. They're afraid of taking a risk. They're afraid that actually the alternative is not going to be better. So often in my office, I'll have people stay in relationships that they are so unhappy in because they're sure that the next relationship is going to be worse. When it's like, oh my goodness, there's so much great and beauty out there. Go get it, right? Or if it's just a negative thinking pattern, if they're stuck in a negative thinking pattern of I'm not good enough, there might even sort of be this fear of moving away from that, because what if the alternative is worse, right? Well, sure, it could be, but it could be better too, okay? So your exercise of the week is to identify what is it that you're afraid of when you get stuck, okay? What is it that keeps you stuck? So those two questions, because they are two separate questions. Now, the answer actually might be the same, but they're two questions. What are you afraid of when you get stuck? And what keeps you stuck? Okay? You're going to have to do some deep diving into this one because it's so different for everybody. And there's no way that I could spend a whole episode talking about each different way that people get stuck, how they get stuck, and why they stay there. But I want you to ask yourself that question. And again, think about those different arenas. Stuck in relationships, stuck in negative thinking patterns, stuck in destructive behaviors, stuck in a career that you don't want to be in. Okay? So think about lots of different arenas and ask yourself that question. All right? All right, so come back next week, because next week we're going to talk about what are some thinking patterns that are common for people to get stuck in and how to get yourself out of those, okay? Hit that subscribe button, press like, comment, come back each week. I'll see you next time.